The movie I'm going to explain today is called Shinjuku Incident. The story begins with a group of illegal immigrants who have secretly entered Japan from China. While they're trying to cross into the country, a Japanese police officer spots them. One of the men in the group quickly pulls out a knife and kills the officer on the spot. Panic erupts among the group, and in the chaos, they all rush forward and successfully enter Japan illegally. Amid this chaos, we're introduced to our main character, Nick. With nothing on him, no belongings, no money, he steals some clothes and shoes from a nearby house just to survive. Having arrived by sea illegally, Nick begins searching for his old friend Ji, a fellow Chinese man who had come to Japan before him. As he wanders the city, Nick is constantly on edge, trying to avoid the police at all costs. That's when we get a flashback from Nick's past, back when he used to live a humble life in China as a tractor driver. He was content with his simple life, especially because of his girlfriend, Yuko, who had always dreamed of going to Japan to earn money. Before she left, she promised Nick that once she made enough money, she would return to China and be with him again. Nick trusted her deeply and was happy for her future. However, many years have passed, and Yuko still hasn't returned. Nick eventually finds out that she used to live with her aunt in Japan, but sadly, her aunt has died, and now Yuko's whereabouts are completely unknown. This terrifies Nick. Determined to find her, he decides to go to Japan himself. Back in the present, Nick finally locates Jai's place. Jai is living in a cramped, rented room with 15 to 20 other people, all illegal immigrants from China like him. Nick, weak from days without food, immediately starts eating whatever he can find. After eating, Ji takes him out to clean up. They head to a public bathhouse, but unfortunately, it's already occupied by members of the Yakuza, a powerful Japanese gang. Their leader mocks the two, saying, "Why do you Chinese people always come here just to die?" Hearing this, both Nick and Jai grow tense and frightened. Later, Nick confides in Jai that he came to Japan to find Yuko. Jai responds by saying that before Nick can start searching for her, he needs to find a job first. After that, both Nick and Jai set out to find some work. They eventually meet a man who, after taking a small fee from them, manages to get them a job as garbage collectors. The next morning, we see Nick and Ji collecting trash in the city. While working, Nick notices that a large pile of garbage is about to fall on a man named Tai. At the same moment, the police arrive on the scene. Thinking quickly, Nick and Jai rush to Tai and pull him out just in time, saving his life. Grateful for their help, Tai hands them a few prepaid cards in return, cards they can use to do some shopping. Jai explains that these are all stolen phone cards, and while they don't work for everything, they're good enough to buy small items here and there. The scene then shifts to the funeral of one of Japan's most powerful Yakuza bosses. The funeral is attended by various high-ranking members of the Yakuza. After the boss's death, it was time to elect a new leader. Although everyone expected Maragud to be chosen, the position was given to Tokugawa, who had received the least number of votes. Furious, Maragud storms out of the funeral. Meanwhile, we are introduced to Inspector Kitano, who has been assigned the task of cracking down on illegal Chinese immigrants in Japan. Back in the sewer tunnels, we see Nick and other immigrants doing hard labor when the police suddenly raid the area. All of them are rounded up and lined up in rows. A translator is called in, but his Chinese is so poor that Inspector Kitano himself has to try and communicate using broken Chinese. As one officer begins handcuffing a worker, panic spreads and the immigrants try to escape. Inspector Kitano himself ends up falling into a drain. Not knowing how to swim, he begins drowning. Seeing this, Nick jumps back in to save him. After ensuring the inspector is safe, Nick quickly flees the scene. This experience changes Inspector Kitano's perspective, and he says, "These Chinese people are human too. I'll make sure to repay the one who saved me." The next day, Ji and Nick go to a local marketplace. Nick is shocked to see how openly people are shoplifting there. But Jai explains that the Japanese are so honest that shopkeepers leave their stores unattended, expecting people to pay on their own. Since no one's watching, these illegal workers steal items and later sell them in the black market. They head to the underground market and manage to get good money for the stolen goods. However, Nick, being a man of principle, refuses to take a single penny from it. Instead, he quietly finds a job washing dishes at a small restaurant. One day, while he's working, a girl sees him in this poor condition and hands him some money. She's accompanied by an old, drunk man. A group of goons suddenly appear and begin harassing the girl, and in the scuffle, the old man gets badly hurt. Seeing this, Nick drops what he's doing, grabs a steel rod nearby, and scares the goons away. The girl takes the injured man to her bar for treatment. It turns out the girl, named Lily, is actually the owner of the bar. Out of gratitude, she offers Nick more money. But Nick, being the man he is, not only refuses the new money but also returns what she gave him earlier. This moment shows just how honest and principled Nick truly is. A few days later, we see Nick and Jai working together at a restaurant. While serving customers, Nick spots a man named Ichi sitting at a table with his wife, and to Nick's shock, that woman is none other than Yuko, his long-lost love. Their eyes meet, and both Nick and Yuko instantly recognize each other. Iguchi also noticed the way Nick and Yuko looked at each other. That night when they got home, he asked Yuko directly, "Who was that man staring at you like that? And why were you looking back at him the same way?" Yuko hesitated, then softly replied, "He's someone from my village back in China." Hearing this, Nick's heart broke. He realized that no matter how honest he was, it held no value in this world. He understood one harsh truth. If he wanted to survive in this world, he had to become powerful. And to become powerful, he needed to step away from honesty and into the world of crime. From that moment on, Nick began engaging in illegal activities, everything from stealing goods to rigging gambling machines for money. His entire group, except for Jai, joined in these shady operations. Jai, who had always feared illegal work, stayed away from it, and the rest respected his decision. One day, Nick asked Jai what his dream was. Jai simply replied, "I just want to live a normal life, maybe run a small peanut cart someday." Hearing this, Nick and his friends surprised Jai by pooling their money together and actually buying him a peanut cart. Jai was overwhelmed with joy. All he ever wanted was a simple, honest life, and now he had a chance at it. On New Year's Day, Jai brought Lily along. She had become a good friend of his. Meanwhile, Nick's business was also doing well. But one day, while Ji was kindly offering peanuts to a little girl, he was spotted by her father, a local gangster. Furious that his daughter was interacting with a Chinese man, the gangster dragged Jai into his house and beat him up brutally. When Nick heard what happened, he took a few of his men and stormed into the gangster's place, ready for a fight. Although the gangster had many men, Nick's entire crew showed up just in time. Armed with whatever they could find, they fought back fiercely and beat up the gang members. As the chaos unfolded, the police arrived. Nick quickly rushed to retrieve Ji's peanut cart, but by then Inspector Kitano had already reached the scene. Surprisingly, instead of arresting him, Kitano thanked Nick for saving his life back in the sewer. To help Nick escape, Kitano even distracted the police, allowing Nick to quietly leave with the cart. Another day, Ji had parked his peanut cart near a gambling parlor. Tai, who needed to use the restroom, asked Ji to watch his seat for a few minutes. Ji agreed, but while sitting there, a man named Gao accused him of tampering with the gambling machine. Ji tried to explain that it was his first time there, and he was just selling peanuts. But Gao didn't listen. He grabbed Jie and dragged him outside. As Tai returned, he saw what was happening and rushed to inform Nick. Nick and the others ran to Ji's aid, but by the time they arrived, it was too late. Gao had already severely beaten Ji, and, in a horrific act, chopped off his hand to make sure he'd never play games again. Ji, the most innocent and honest among them, had become the victim of something so cruel. When Nick and his group arrived, Gao didn't stop. He even crushed Jie's severed hand in front of them. They had no choice but to flee and take Jai home because they couldn't risk going to a hospital without being arrested as illegal immigrants. They called a doctor to treat Jai at home. As Jai screamed in pain during the treatment, Nick sat by, overwhelmed with guilt and sorrow. He decided that he couldn't let this go. He had to take revenge. Nick stormed into the nightclub alone, sword in hand. Gao was in the middle of a meeting with Iguchi. From what it looked like, Gao was planning to assassinate Iguchi. As Gao pulled out his knife and lunged at Iguchi, Nick sprang into action. Before Gao could strike again, Nick rushed out and sliced off Gao's hand, just like he had done to Ji. After this bloody confrontation, Nick and Iguchi fled the scene. Iguchi took Nick to his house, where Nick finally met Yuko and her daughter. Grateful for saving his life, Iguchi offered Nick a job, but Nick refused. Still, the next day, Iguchi showed up at Nick's home with another job offer, this time with a catch. Nick agreed, but only under one condition. He wanted legal residency in Japan. In return, he'd work for Iguchi. Iguchi had his own motives. He wanted revenge against his enemies, and he knew Nick was the man who could help him do it. Iguchi paid Nick a huge sum of money for the job, and Nick did it with precision. But the consequences were brutal. Chaos erupted between the Yakuza factions, leading to bloodshed across the city. Amidst the violence, Iguchi eliminated all his enemies and rose to become the sole boss. As promised, he handed over control of the Shinjuku district to Nick. Soon, Nick, who was once looked down upon, was now feared and respected by all. Even those who used to mock him now bowed before him. But instead of misusing his power, Nick did something unexpected. He shut down all the illegal operations and told his men, "I want a fresh start. I'll only run legal businesses from now on." Inspired by this decision, they all agreed to open a restaurant, something legitimate and safe. Nick wanted no more trouble from the police. Everyone supported the idea, except G. Ever since G had lost his hand and been disfigured, his personality had changed drastically. The trauma had darkened him. Nick noticed how everyone had started ignoring Jae, and in an effort to cheer him up, he gave Jae his own territory to manage. Years passed. Unbeknownst to Nick, Jae had partnered with Iguchi behind his back. Jae had become deeply involved in illegal activities, running his own gang, dealing drugs, and ruling the streets with violence. One day, Inspector Kitano informed Nick that his old friend Jie had joined Iguchi's drug operations. Nick was devastated. He had always hoped his friends would walk the path of honesty. He promised the inspector that he would speak to Jie and fix things. Kitano made him an offer. If Nick could bring evidence against Iguchi, the police would protect him and not pursue charges. Even Lily advised Nick to accept the deal, but Nick refused. He couldn't betray the friends who had given him food and shelter when he had nothing. Instead, Nick confessed to Inspector Kitano that he had once killed 2 men under Iguchi's orders. Hearing this, Lily slapped him in frustration, shouting, "You're sacrificing yourself for 2 friends who don't even care about you anymore." Still, Nick had made up his mind. He decided to help the police. He took Inspector Kitano to his gang's hideout, where they found G and others deep in drug deals. Nick tried to convince them, "Leave this path behind. If you stand with me and testify against Iguchi, we'll all walk free." But before anything could happen, Tai, one of the gang, suddenly slit his own comrade's throat. It became clear. Nick's life was now in danger. Just then, stones started flying through the windows. A full-blown attack had begun. It was led by Nakajima, Iguchi's right-hand man, who secretly hated all Chinese immigrants. His real goal was to wipe them out completely. He and his men stormed the hideout, brutally ambushing Nick and his crew. In the chaos, Iguchi tried to escape, but Nakajima shot him point blank. As Iguchi lay dying, he pulled out a flash drive and handed it to Nick, saying, "Give this to the inspector. It contains evidence of all the Yakuza's illegal activities." Police soon arrived, but Nick had already fled the scene, badly wounded. He was searching for Jie, only to find his friend's lifeless body lying among the ruins. With deep sorrow, Nick gently covered Jie's body with a cloth. He called Yuko, informing her about everything. Meanwhile, Nakajima's men chased after Nick and injured him further before Inspector Kitano arrived and shot Nakajima dead. Kitano followed Nick into the very same sewer where Nick had once saved his life. He found Nick barely conscious, bleeding out, helpless. Kitano could do nothing but watch. In his final moments, Nick pulled out the flash drive and handed it over. And with that, Nick passed away, his body slowly floating away in the dark water of the sewer, the same place where it had all begun. And so, the story of Shinjuku Incident comes to a tragic end. If this recap moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you soon with another gripping story. Until then, goodbye. Namaste.